Okay. Yeah, so I'm Orwell, and Jacquard is the ATProto library that I wrote. And yeah, first we're going to do a bit about me. I'm an embedded and at this point, everything else developer. I design electronics. Utopian ATProto kind of hit me like a truck, like it did a lot of people here. And yeah, got kind of, yeah, very, very into it. Was trying to figure out something that felt right to contribute to the atmosphere, a bunch of different things. And yeah, this is Jacquard, and a few different things I've done, or what you might call spite-driven development. This was a point where, yeah, we had there were plenty of ATProto libraries at the time, but they all kind of sucked to work with, especially back when I started. There were a couple of notable exceptions, but none of them were in Rust, which was my language of choice for a bunch of reasons, which I'll get into. I ended up putting another project on hold because I got frustrated, and some other friends had similar frustrations. And yeah, a lot of this came down to, how's that? Oh, I gotta be on. I'd be on this screen. There we go. Yeah, like a lot of this came down to issues with code generation. From lexicons, GraphQL, everything you generate, you have how you specify what you want, and then you need code that does that. You either handwrite it, or more likely you generate it from some state, be that JSON, be that GraphQL, be that whatever. And unfortunately, most of these fucking suck. You end up, so you generate all your bindings. You spend way more time, or these days LLM tokens, writing code around them to make them actually usable. And yeah, this isn't just an ATProto problem, but it hurts more here, both because lexicons and like a lot of them, and especially in the ecosystem for people wanting to not just play in Bluesky sandbox. But we do not have to live like this. And in as much as this talk is about the thing that I'm doing, it's also no, this is something everybody else can do in whatever language, whatever you can. We can do this better, especially now. And hang on. Yeah. And so yeah, it's like, why Rust? For me, like, this was my language, and it is kind of, at this point, the only language you can run it literally pretty much anywhere, and it's actually not completely stupid. Like, you can run a lot of things a lot of places, but you would be hard to find defensible reasons. You can at least find defensible reasons for Rust, although if you're running Rust on your full stack, you better be my kind of pervert.
Real sicko.
Yeah. And so yeah, it has excuse me. It has a reputation as a difficult and demanding language. The reputation is sort of deserved and sort of not. And of course, a lot of Rust libraries go a long way to improving on that state. And of course, yeah, it's like one of the reasons why I am a fan of it is that essentially, like, especially coming for me from the C world, the things Rust forces you to think of, the things that people consider demanding, difficult, are the things you need to think of anyway, and it makes them explicit. And of course, like the whole point, we can make the sharp edges easier if we care to. And yeah. And again, we do not have to live like this. And of course, and this is the thing, this is peripheral to sort of the whole talk, but this is one of the things that I ran into that I didn't necessarily expect in the development of Jacquard, and is basically parse don't validate can only take you so far. This is kind of a truism that you get, and it's especially among Rust devs, among functional programmers. But the thing is that like there's a limit, especially depending on how your language handles errors. Yeah, if Serde JSON or Serde CBOR can't parse something as the type you're asking of it, you will just get an error. It does not give you the partial. And this is not something that I've got a good solution for, but it also that lack of good solution for it gets us to a different place. And hang on. We just got. And so, yeah. And so, yeah, it's like Atrium, previous go-to ATProto Rust crate. They had typed numbers. The number, it wasn't just int60, I64, I32, I8. It had a type, and that type encoded the limits, which is cool. It's very interesting. In theory, in practice, it's a huge pain in the ass, and this is partially the fault of Rust. Rust's type system does not handle that very well. And Jacquard, until recently, mostly just put these as code comments and generated APIs. It's fixed that. And yeah, it's kind of the thing. And yeah. And of course, one of the challenges is like you've got methods for partial understanding. And this is something that I've really tried to push as far as possible in this where you can have arbitrary data. And I will tell you that that's a lot of what's going on in the back end here. And I'll show you more about that in a minute. Where'd the timeline go? Oh, so off over there. Anywho, but yeah, so it's like Jacquard has a data type, which is ATProto informed. It says all of this. It tries to understand just by looking at the JSON or CBOR what it is, what it's likely to be, and to work with freeform data in useful ways, but doesn't, of course, handle the scenario where you have something that almost fits but doesn't. For example, you have I already showed you in the next slide, or the next bit. For example, you have a whole feed of posts, and one of them has an invalid handle. One of them or something else that doesn't validate, but the handle is the really common one. And yeah, this was downstream of a GitHub issue I got early on in the development. And yeah, it's just a shitty developer experience, a shitty user experience to have to do that because you fall back. You have to fall back. You don't have all your it's like in Jacquard you would have this, which is good, but it's still not your type. You have to do all this extra work. Yeah, and so yeah, it's like that is, for example, why Jacquard has a carve out for the specific invalid handle, and there's a few other things like that in the library. And there's like the decision of when to do that versus not has been a fun thing. It's time to follow the spec, and there's a time to refrain. And yeah. Keep getting off this. And so yeah, it's like as much as, and so this is sort of, yeah, it's like my pitch, obviously for my thing, and I think everybody else can, this is like we're all getting better at this in this ecosystem, but we can go so much further. Is like you have stuff that does the work that it can for you, make it very, very easy, pluggable, so that in the Rust case, everything is traits. Everything is generic, but not generic in a way that is a lot of work, has good defaults. And then, yeah, obviously for me, it's like API code gen that you can just work with. Like it ends up being reasonably pretty as of a few weeks ago. And yeah, Jacquard, if you're familiar with Rust, you know lifetimes. Lifetimes are everybody's favorite thing, and they're important, but they're also one of the things that I got the most comments on. Is like, this makes this harder, and I didn't want to have that be a barrier. And yeah, honestly, it's funny, because like I didn't actually anticipate, I knew sort of when I started writing the library that picking this fight would be a barrier, but I kind of assumed everybody would figure it out. And I also couldn't, also honestly, I hadn't figured out a good way around it until, amusingly, I was looking through some of Fig's code and found a really interesting library there, which we'll discuss in a moment. Before I go back to that, what you're seeing in the background, we'll catch up to real time here, and we'll see. This is the time helix. It was like it's like this. So amusingly, this was, yeah, it was like I was wanting to do some sort of visualization and not sure exactly how to end up. And this was where I landed because somebody posted this and just like, kind of nerd sniped the hell out of me. And so this is Jetstream. This is everything coming in. Well, is 1 in 10 of everything of Bluesky's, everything of everything else. And yeah, so you can see how as we go here, like as whatever I'm mousing over shows things. And so this is actually again, yeah. So this is hitting. These like obviously some of the data is in the Jetstream data itself, but then it's also pulling on the refs and of course constellation, fig, proto for the win, getting some of that, and yeah, and again is like doing kind of as generic like a generic UI thing, and the fun thing is that let me get back over here and see if we can make this happen because you've seen me editing text and that's how I've been editing the slides. If I will probably break something, but we'll see. Yeah. Let's see. Where do we want to? Because yeah, this is all running on this very, very hardworking little i5 here. So and on the conference Wi-Fi, so I'm impressed it's held up as well as it has. But yeah, and so, yeah, as you can go, yeah. So you can, yeah, as like it hits the Bluesky app view, you get the profiles, just because that was easy. Yeah, but, where is it gone? I'm trying to find my damn, yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna go way too far into this, but, yeah, you get. And yeah, you can like change things, and yeah, it's like a lot of this is so what yeah. So what this actually is, this is Bevy game engine. Like this is like bare UI library, just rendering all the slides, and yeah, it's like it's hot reloading everything from the disk, and so everything sort of streams there. And because yeah, like the other fun thing is, and so yeah, it's like this was something just like over a couple weeks and kind of go. But yeah, and this is all sort of very straightforward. And a lot of this is as easy as it is because of services, because of tools everybody else has built here. Like everybody in this ecosystem stands on the shoulders of giants. And yeah.
You are making a dent in slingshot metrics.
I bet. I bet I am right now. I'm very sorry.
Yeah,
I will. Okay. I wasn't sure how badly that would show up because yeah, I am hitting that for, quite a lot. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And oh yeah, the other thing. I'm gonna one more because yeah, this was like I was saying. It's like with the borrowing. Oh yes, I keep forgetting I need to get the window back in focus. There we. So yeah, it's like this is why like you ended up with borrowing. It's like there's like you can either do unsafe in Rust, you can do separate borrowed own types, and then you end up okay. So now, like Rust is language that has 8 types of strings in the default. So yeah, that plus however many ATProto lexicons that didn't feel achievable. Then there's a kind of like byte muck, or then there's the borrower share, which was the thing that I found. And so yeah, Jacquard is getting some fun things like that made this all possible in the sense that it's yeah, it's a little harder. And let me pull something over from my display here. So yeah, this is the presentation. There's the slides, some QR code. And yeah, a lot of this is Bevy. This is very fun. But yeah, and then you can kind of hit. Yeah, and so actually this provides, let me minimize this. How big is the font here? Is this too small, too large? Okay, so yeah, and this is actually kind of a good illustration because Jacquard provides a WebSocket client, runs on the Tokyo runtime. Bevy doesn't really like that, so this is a basically re-implementation on the small async runtime. It's like one little source file because it's a very simple trait, and then you can immediately plug in everything else in Jacquard. Just pick that one bit out. There you go. And I didn't end up using this. Oh, we'll get to that. I didn't end up using this because I did end up using Tokyo and request. But this, but of course, Bevy is not async friendly, which makes a lot of sense as a game engine. But you can just do, yeah. So again, this is another, like, Jacquard has a client trait, and this is an implementation of it. And then on top of that, there is a sync trait and a polling version of it that supports. And again, it follows in the same pattern, so you interact with it pretty much the same way. And yeah, it's like this is sort of example-wise and not intended for like use, but you get the idea for, yeah, it's like this is why I like what I've built, because it makes this kind of thing a lot more straightforward than it would have been otherwise. Because yeah, like if I don't know it's like anybody else working in with some of the others is like, okay, so I want to color outside the lines. How do I color outside the lines? The goal is for that to be easy, but for coloring inside the lines to be rewarding. So yeah, and so yeah, that's kind of my presentation. I don't know how. I've got lots of time, but I figured, yeah.
Yeah, we've got lots of time for questions. So, does anyone have any?
Yeah.
Yes. I'll just wait so the streamers can hear.
I'm actually wondering about your background there, because I saw on Bluesky someone posted, I don't know or the person on Earth next to you, about vibe coding something like this. Oh, cool. That's pretty neat, though.
There's a lot of thought that goes into, especially in Jacquard itself, when you do, like, in terms of LLM use and in terms of, okay, so like, how do you maintain a quality, how do you maintain a good output? And honestly, I can't write most of it because they're not good enough. Right? So, can you press the mic?
Oh, that one stopped working?
By accident. How do I turn it back on?
There's a little switch.
Oh, sorry. There we go. My bad. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so, how far back was that turned off? I'm trying to keep. Anyway. Or do we just want to move on? Anyway. Yeah.
Okay. Next question. I saw a few more hands here.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yes.
So cool. I want to know, like, what are the kind of recursive helices in your visualization represent?
It's basically intervals of time. This is like the largest is, I want to say, what did I end up? What did we end up with here? Yeah, this is like you ended up with like sub-second level time, and then you ended up with like about it's like kind of seconds, minutes, sub-second. Yeah, because of course Jetstream is so fast. Right. And if you noticed when you have the slides up, it slows down and you see it go past, and then you pull the slides down, it catches back up. And you can also pause. You can go back and forth and around. This gets a little laggy as it pulls things in, but yeah. There's an SQLite database that this is all gets dumped into for all the past events, and yeah. The colors are different lexicons actually. So it's
Maybe,
it's like it's mostly the common ones, and then it's like you see the little yellow ones. Those are non-Bluesky lexicons. Most of them will be account events. That's the common one. One thing that I'm curious at, and actually let's go look. Because let's go. Can we get back? There was a. There we go. We got there. There's this little. I keep seeing these little clusters, where it's like a bunch of they're follows. Yeah, I wonder if this is like somebody subscribing to a starter pack. Could be. Or bots. Definitely could be bots. Bots and starter packs. All the Blue Wave people following 20,000 people.
I'm just like, I wonder if you could like just talk to like how, at a high level, it kind of is using Jacquard like in visualization.
Honestly, this is very high. Yeah, so this is pretty high level, in the sense that like I said, I did re-implement a couple of the traits because I needed to. But in terms of where is it? Yeah, it's like this is the spot that has a bunch of Jacquard stuff, and you're going to scroll through a bunch of Bevy UI stuff here. But you can see this is it's like Jetstream messages, and then pulling out, and a lot of this is like using kind of the partial understanding stuff, Jacquard's arbitrary data type. And you kind of, where is it gone? But yeah, and it pulls out embeds. And actually, where did that go? I'm trying to remember where I had that. Because I did in here. I'm trying to find it, but I also just don't want to like try to like Control F for it. And it's, almost. Yeah, okay, so this is a fun one. So this is the response types for Constellation. And this is a struct for it, DID collection archy. We just did strings for simplicity, and this is the get backlinks query, blue.microcosm.links.get backlinks. This derives XRPC request, and this basically generates all the code that drives everything else. And so how Jacquard works is, as we go in here, this is, does this function have the call in it? Yes, it does. So this is a get profile call. This is hitting the Bluesky app view. And you basically just send it. Implement this on the ATP client. And you just send it, and you wait, and then you match on the response. You match into output. This gives you a nice owned, easy to work with version. There's also parse that borrows from the buffer, and then and so if you get a success, or you get the defined XRPC errors, also again from the lexicon, and this is doing a lot of handling of that. And then this is the request enrichment. This is where we're hitting Slingshot. And again, like Jacquard actually has a built-in Slingshot helper that just hits it, which I need to change to use the blue.microcosm. It still uses com.bat example. But and so again, fetch record Slingshot. And Jacquard also has fetch record or get record that gives you a specific collection type. If you want a profile, it'll give you the generated profile struct.
Yeah.
And this is for arbitrary data, which is why it's hitting that. And again, you can here's Constellation. And so you have the Constellation base URL, and then construct the query, XRPC, send it.
Incredible, thank you.
So and so it's like that's kind of how it works. That's how you use it. You don't, and the whole goal is that you don't need to do a whole lot beyond.
Awesome. We have time for maybe one or two more questions if there's any more in the audience.
Yeah, could you speak again on what the did you say that you did make refactor to the lifetime challenges, or you have intended ideas?
Yes, I have. No, I've got. Is it good? Yeah. Okay. Up on Tangled, there is a beta branch, BOS beta, and that I did this over last weekend. Not this one. Good Lord, not this one. Over the previous weekend, I did refactor away, and that's why you're not seeing a whole bunch of lifetimes in here. This is the beta of that. And so, I didn't want to go straight to like pushing that to main because there are still some things that is broken on it. In particular, the lexicon. There's a lexicon derive macro that still needs a bunch of fixing. And I'm sure there are a bunch of other bugs. I found a couple when I was building this, it's like that makes a lot of things much more possible, especially around interprocess communication. For example, the Deoxys library it requires you to have the deserialize owned constraint, which Jacquard previously cannot support and now can. So if people want to try out the beta, it's there. If I can maybe cargo publish it as like a beta version if that's better for people, but yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Orwell.
Thank you.
This was very inspiring.